Let's talk about fashion I'm loving. Hi friends. This week I just wanted to sit down and have a little chit chat about fashion I'm loving right now. What's been consuming my heart, my mind, and my outfits lately. A lot of these are also part of bigger current fashion trends. Some are things I've just seen on a couple runways, trend predictions, if you will, and some are just things I'm personally very into for this fall and winter. Let's get into it. So I literally just trimmed my bangs while I was changing my outfit because they were annoying me. That's just the sort of chaotic energy I have in my heart today, apparently. So I don't know what that means about the energy that this video is gonna end up having, but if my hair looks different, that's why. Anyway, the first thing I have been super into lately is collegiate style. Specifically a very vintage retro collegiate look. I'm talking varsity sweaters, plaid everything, collared shirts, vests, neckties, loafers, brooches, pins. Looks that are so collegiate, it's like almost campy. That's what I'm into right now. Honestly, I have always considered myself not really to be into preppy style, so this interest in something preppy adjacent came as sort of a surprise to myself, but I think that's because my idea of preppiness is very informed by 2000s and 2020s versions of it, which tend to be either neutral or very pink. My idea of preppy academic style previously was sort of either this or this. But I realized this sort of take on that style, which I am referring to as collegiate because that feels the most accurate to me, resonates with me so much because it does feel sort of academic and vintage inspired, but also playful, youthful, and expressive, rather than classy, conservative, and stifled. One of the things I love most about this vintage collegiate look is retro sportswear specifically, which I also think is one of the biggest factors in making the style feel more casual and fun, especially when we're contrasting sportswear pieces with polished school uniform pieces. I just love a look that has some stylistic juxtaposition. I also love the sort of androgyny of this style, probably for the same reason it provides such a great friction within an outfit. Overall, I love fashion that feels vintage yet casual, bookish yet sporty, traditional yet playful. So this colorful, fun, collegiate look actually totally makes sense as something I would love, and I'm very much embracing it right now. Okay, this next item I'm into is actually more of a specific clothing piece that kind of even falls under the collegiate style umbrella, and that is rugby shirts. This is something I feel like I hadn't been seeing at all, and then all of a sudden it was absolutely everywhere. But it makes total sense. It's very in line with a lot of other trends right now, sort of preppy style being trending, but also the sports jersey bloke core thing. I am loving rugby shirts kind of for the same reasons I just described that I'm loving that retro collegiate style. I think rugby shirts are the perfect example of something arguably preppy, but not coded as classy or rich or corporate. It instead feels, again, young and playful and casual. I also have strangely always loved rugby shirts, even as a kid. Listen, kids have their own sense of personal style, okay? That's the best way to tell what your real style is what you loved as a kid, because I had very distinct tastes. And this is insanely specific, but I was a huge American girly as a child, and still now, to be honest. And I remember specifically the Girl of the Year doll for 2010 wore a rugby shirt. I remember specifically just loving that outfit. I can picture it so distinctly to this day. I will say the particular trend of rugby shirts does feel quite specific. I mean, it is one specific clothing item, which makes me think it may not perhaps be the most long-lived trend. So for that reason, and because this has also been in style so many other times throughout the decades, I would definitely suggest trying to get this secondhand. I haven't had luck finding one at the thrift store, but I have seen tons on Depop and Poshmark that are very reasonably priced. I also love the look of a colorful boxy polo shirt. I think it has a very similar vibe and style. I actually just recently found this polo shirt I'm wearing right now at the thrift store with this little crest on it, which I think is so fun. It definitely gives that vintage retro sporty vibe, and also again kind of has the collegiate vibe to it. Our next trend is another thing that could definitely fall into that collegiate fashion category, although it's not always styled that way, and that is plaid, specifically long plaid skirts. This one is funny to me because I just found myself being I'm really into plaid for this fall, especially a long plaid skirt. And then I realized every fashion girly I follow online was also talking about wanting a long plaid skirt, and I was like, oh, as usual, I am realizing I have never had an original thought in my life. And once again, all of our individual fashion interests are in fact being fueled by external influences. That's part of why I think talking about trends is interesting, because we're all participating in them, whether we realize it or not, whether we're even interested in fashion or not. We're all affected. Cue the cerulean monologue from The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, okay. I see. You think this has nothing to do with you.
Honestly, the conversation about like personal style and individual taste versus trends feels so oversimplified to me, and that's like a whole nother conversation for another video. If anyone wants me to make that video, let me know, because I have some thoughts on that topic. But this is all to say, I know my tastes are influenced by trends, as all of our tastes are, but right now, my taste includes plaid midi skirts. I actually already have quite a bit of this sort of pattern in my wardrobe, as you can see. Plaid overcoat and plaid midi dress. I just recently thrifted this plaid midi skirt, so I am not actively planning to buy anything more that falls in this category unless I happen to stumble across something truly perfect at the thrift store. But this is a look I've just been really into and getting a lot of wear out of lately in my wardrobe. I mean, literally, I got this skirt like a month ago and I've been wearing it at least once a week since then. Okay, before we get into the next trend, please indulge me for a moment and let me tell you about my favorite online learning platform and also today's sponsor, Skillshare. You all already know I have been using Skillshare for years. I've used career-focused classes to learn graphic design, which I do now as a freelancer, and more recently I took Tiffany Emery's class, Etsy Launch, How to Open an Etsy Shop Like a Professional Seller, which walked me through all the steps to open my own Etsy shop, which just surpassed 60 sales, by the way, so clearly I learned something useful. Skillshare covers such a wide breadth of topics. It's also a great resource for just hobbies. Personally, I am really hoping to get into knitting or crocheting in the next few months, and I am particularly hyped about these classes on those topics. I cannot wait to try making these projects. The first 500 people to use my link will get 30 days of free Skillshare membership. So if you're interested in launching a side hustle, professional development, or just exploring a new hobby, click the link in the description, give the free trial a try. It's a great time. The next look I am so into right now is asymmetry, specifically asymmetrical hemlines and draping on skirts and dresses. I just love the variation and movement this adds to any outfit. I think it's just inherently more dynamic and dimensional because it creates a new fluid line on your body for the eye to follow. It makes the garment move in a different way. I love it. It's just so beautiful. I also appreciate the creativity this look provides. Like, it's definitely been a trend in the fashion world for a year or two already, but it still feels like something that is outside of the norm of clothing, which is symmetrical, obviously. And there are also so many different ways this can look while still adding that new sense of movement and dynamic lines to a look. So to me, it seems like it would be really hard for this look to become like overdone because it can be done in just so many different ways. And one of the best parts of this look as a trend, oh my God, those cars are loud. Grow up! Anyway, one of the best parts about this look as a trend, to me, is that you can do it with clothes you already own. I have only just recently begun doing this by just safety pinning up different spots on my long skirts to create this asymmetrical draping effect, and I feel like it creates a completely different look without having to acquire anything new, which is always just a very exciting prospect to me in my wardrobe and for fashion in general. You can even try pinning the same skirt in multiple different ways to create different like lengths and silhouettes. The creativity and options are truly endless. I actually just did this with this outfit I wore recently to a fall market, and I absolutely love how it looked. If you want more outfit pics and inspo from me, by the way, feel free to follow me on Instagram at BabeWorld. I also appreciate that this makes long skirts a little less conservative, so if you have a lot of layers and coverage on the top half, like I did in this outfit, pinning up your long skirt on the bottom is a great way to balance that out. So last time I talked about trends, I mentioned that I, like many of us, was loving the color red, particularly little pops of red, which is still true, still loving that. But a combo I have specifically been super into lately is red paired with shades of brown or tan. Literally, I think I saw this specific photo, this outfit, like a year ago on Pinterest, and I was like, oh, red and brown, what a unique combo. I really love how that looks. And since then, I have just been seeing this color combo more and more, and now I feel like it's popping up everywhere. I'm sure it didn't all come from this one photo, but I have seen this photo referenced many times, and to me, this outfit is the red and brown blueprint. I love this combo because red is such a bold color, it can be almost harsh, and brown is such a soft, natural, mellow color that I feel like it's the perfect counterpart to the color red to create a palette that's like lively and energetic, yet cozy and earthy at the same time. Especially for fall and winter, I just think this combination of like vibrance yet coziness is just so perfect. I also feel like lively yet earthy is kind of where my wardrobe color palette falls in general. So this combo also just feels very my style. And again, I love that this look is something pretty much anyone can do with clothes they already own. If you own anything red and anything brown or tan, you can try this out. I think it is a great evolution in red as a trend. Okay, the next thing I am super into right now is Fair Isle knits. I mean, this is just something I always love, but my love for it has been recently rejuvenated. Honestly, I saw this outfit on Pinterest and was like, this is everything to me. It's just so cozy, so classic yet fun, vibrant yet kind of earthy. I mean, what's not to love, truly? This is something I actually haven't really seen anyone else talk about as a trend in like trend listicles or in other fashion creators' videos, but I totally see this becoming extra popular again as a trend this winter because I think it falls perfectly into this whole swing towards more traditional and classic fashion that we're seeing right now. Like so many other current trends or forecasted trends fall into this category of like traditional or classic style. We're seeing corporate style, normcore, plaid. We're literally seeing black coats and white button-ups listed as upcoming trends for this season. So honestly, Fair Isle knits might be a little too fun compared to how boring some of these trends are. But you see what I mean? Classics are sort of everything right now as far as mainstream fashion goes. And what is more classic than a cozy Fair Isle knit sweater for winter? I also realized after I saw this outfit that I just loved instantly upon seeing it, that this sweater is actually from, how do you say her name? I was confident, now I'm self-conscious, I'm gonna get it wrong.
Molly Goddard.
Molly Goddard? Okay, you guys can tell me if Google has it wrong, but this sweater is from Molly Goddard's Fall 2023 collection. So, you know, now I have not only my own intuition, but at least one designer runway validation that this might be an upcoming trend. Plus, like I said earlier, I have never had an original thought in my life. Every time I think I just like something, it turns out we're all starting to like it simultaneously because we've been influenced to like it by some external factor. So I feel like if I'm suddenly feeling really into Fair Isle knits, probably so are other people. All this said, of course, regardless of whether this ends up becoming like a bigger trend or not, I am super into it. As we've already established, I love things that are sort of vintage and traditional, but in like a very colorful, maximalist, super cozy way. So this is just right up my alley. Okay, the next thing I am very into right now is super specific, and I really don't know if this is a larger trend or not, but it is camera bags, or like bags that look like camera bags. Specifically, what I mean by this are like medium small crossbody bags that have a thick, sturdy canvas strap with like a buckle on it that clips on and off the bag. I am just super into bags with this type of strap lately. I love the utilitarian look that it gives. It feels very like casual and sort of rugged and adventurous. I also think a bigger strap with some sort of decorative element on it, even if it's just a buckle, will automatically look more intentional and more like a styled part of your outfit just because it has more visual presence and emphasis. And I just think a thicker strap like this is way more comfortable on your shoulder. So for all those reasons, I'm a fan. Like I said, I really don't know if this is much of a trend or just something I'm into, but I literally just saw this bag at Target and was like, huh, I'm super into that look. I should try to find a bag like that. And then I actually ended up being gifted this lovely bag from Oh My Bag, and it has since become my go-to everyday bag. I use it pretty much whenever I leave the house. I am just obsessed with this look. It feels so casual and effortlessly cool, and it is so practical. This video is of course not sponsored by Oh My Bag. They have no idea I'm mentioning them here, but I do have a discount code with them. So I'll put that in the description with a link if you're interested. Okay, the final item of this video is something I have actually not really experimented with yet until right now, which is big drapey scarves, worn as shawls or capes, built into jackets, or just thrown around yourself like a blanket. This is something I haven't actually seen anyone doing yet, but I saw looks like this on numerous different runways for this fall and winter. These menswear looks from Benito Santos specifically caught my eye. I just think these look so cool and so dramatic, and I am looking forward to experimenting with this. What I'm really excited by with this look is that, again, like many others on this list, it's a new way to style something you likely already own. I definitely have my share of big scarves, and I think most people who live in places that get cold have at least one big big scarf tucked away somewhere. So I'm just feeling very inspired to try styling it in a way that is totally new to me. It also just seems so cozy. Like if I can get around with walking around essentially wrapped in a blanket, I am on board. This is pretty much what I look like in my house every day anyway. I also noticed these sort of drapey scarf looks tend to also be asymmetrical, which kind of falls into the asymmetrical draping trend that I mentioned earlier. So that's another thing I love about it. I like that it creates interesting lines and movement, and I think its alignment with another existing trend is further indication that it will increase in popularity in the near future. Also, I feel like I've seen some different fashion creators recently reference looking for or thrifting ponchos, and you know what else kind of looks like a poncho? This. So maybe drapey scarves and ponchos will be together as sort of an upcoming trend. I don't know. Honestly, either way, I'm excited to try it out and feel like I'm walking around as like a fantasy queen in a dramatic cape. Please let me know in the comments what you think of all of these items that I mentioned. And if you do leave a comment, watch another video like this one right here that the algorithm specifically recommends for you, and subscribe to my humble little channel. I heard your first knitting project that you make in a Skillshare class will turn out perfectly. That's really a wish for myself. I'm definitely gonna mess up.